Hello and welcome. We are so glad that you could join us for session 3, Living in Community. How do I live as a disciple? I'm sure you guys enjoyed the last session, hoping to build on it this week as we ask these questions. Before we can multiply and make disciples, we have to, of course, be adequate disciples first. And so we are going to dive right into it. I've got some key scriptures today, which we can talk about. Got some great questions for you, and just really excited about the growth that we have. This is an area we can grow in. And so we're going to start today with John 13. We're going to look at verses 34 through 35. This is out of the NIV. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, that you follow me, that I'm your rabbi, if you love one another. Now, of course, we know this word for love is agape love. And agape is a different kind of love. We live in a society that says, I will respect you if you deserve it. I will love you if you're lovable. But that's not agape. Agape is a selfless love, a love that gives out of a place that is so special and so unique. Agape is unconditional, it's self-giving, and it's sacrificial. Now, knowing these things about agape, it means I'm able to love a person even if they do not deserve it or they're not worthy of it. It means I give of myself. Because it's self-giving, I'm willing to invest into it. It's sacrificial, it's going to cost something. The thing is, with love, we've so associated love with, well, I don't feel love right now. I don't know what that feels like. Well, agape is not about feeling. It's about making a choice. And I love that. So you and I have the opportunity to wake up tomorrow morning and do agape, even if we don't feel like it. Because we have to wake up and make a decision or a choice. Now, with any decision or choice, it means then there's going to take some learning. There's a learning curve. Sometimes we make a mistake. And so with agape, we are able to practice it. And Jesus says in this scripture, this is your mark, that there will be people looking into your life and they're going to know this person is following Christ so closely. They're covered in the dust from his feet. And it's because they are able to give and love and make a choice sacrificially, unconditionally, and do it out of a place where they are serving the other person. And it's literally the opposite of selfishness, which is, of course, the society that we live in where we're always doing things for ourselves. Agape says, I'm going to have to stop, take a breath, and make a choice and help someone else. Now, there's a lot going on here. I know, like I said, culturally, this is not how many of us were raised, but yet it's a command. It's a new command that Christ is giving here so that we can start to not just love each other and make each other feel good, but to start to multiply because people will be attracted to it. Now, we know with discipleship and rabbis, one of the things about the Bible is we've read through the New Testament. We come across these verses that say, do not be unequally yoked. Well, we know from VBS, youth group, and Bible school that a yoke was a wooden device, and it was taken across two different animals and it allowed them to work at the same speed, where one wouldn't pull against the other. This yoke, you could yoke oxen together and you could plow a field and have the strength of two because they were of one mind, because they couldn't veer off and venture off from each other. Well, also there's this concept that rabbinically that says a yoke is also something that when you would follow a rabbi or you would ask to follow a rabbi, many times you would follow him because you were of like mind, you had like doctrine. In many churches that I've been to, when we have taken gift quests, one of the observations that we've had is that if the lead pastor or the senior pastor is a very high teacher, many of the people in the congregation are teachers. That's their gifting. That's their yoke. If you go to some churches and it's a high gift of exhortation and encouragement, many times the majority of the congregants are also exhorters or encouragers because that's their yoke. So it's important that we know that when we read this scripture from Matthew 11. because many disciples were looking at many different rabbis, and they were looking for a teacher that would suit them where they lived. And I'm wondering if for many of us, as we read about the importance of agape love, maybe that wasn't our yoke. And so we're going to have to relearn it. But Jesus says this, and he says this in Matthew 11. And I feel like this is important concerning our call as a disciple to live in agape, and then also what Jesus has for us. He says this in Matthew 11, 28 through 30. Out of the NIV. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and humble in heart. You'll find rest for your souls. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. Now, these mirror Jesus' words about the Pharisees, the religious, self-righteous leaders. He said, the yoke that they put on you is a burden. It's too heavy to bear. The yoke that religion puts on you is so weighty, and it costs so much. And he says, I'm drawing a new, different type of disciple to me, a disciple that wants to live an easier life, have an easier yoke. And I'm here to tell you that yoke, that light burden that he puts on us it's so wonderful. But a lot of times it's still a yoke, and it does take some practice. And I believe that yoke above most anything else is agape love. It is learning how to be selfless in a culture and a time that is the exact opposite. Now, we know from after the cross and the resurrection, the church was growing. It was multiplying at an impossible rate. And people were coming to faith, both Jews and Gentiles, people that witnessed some actions, some of the occurrences after the resurrection, and other people that had nothing to do with it, but heard stories of a Jesus that walked the earth and loved the unlovable and healed the unclean. And they were so drawn to it. And so we see in Acts 2, we see the power of what was happening there. And I wanted us to end this session on how do I live as a disciple, that if this is truly a question you're asking, how do I do this? I believe Acts 2 gives us this window into some things that we can practice. And it says this, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. And that it's not just about learning, it's not just about the great teaching that was happening at this time, but it was also fellowship, and it was being able to have a meal with people. It was inviting people into your home. So I think this gives us a window into what agape starts to look like when it's practiced specifically by the congregants of the church. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. We see here that miracles were taking place in the middle of this great fellowship and this great teaching in this time when they were just coming together and just enjoying every meal together. Verse 44, all the believers were together, had everything in common. They sold property, possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts, broke bread in their homes, ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God, enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. There was a multiplication happening out of homes being opened, out of miracles taking place, out of great teaching. People were coming and flocking to this. And I love this about when we sit down and we talk about, okay, how do I live this way? This is so hard. Adam, I can't sell everything. I can't live with a bunch of people, but like, how do I maybe put this into my cultural context? How do I start to have all things in common with the people in my church, the people in my small group? And I want to give you out of this session some really practical ways to grow in agape, to practice agape. Like I said, some of us were raised in homes where it was not practiced. This is a brand new concept, to give love to someone who's not worthy of it. So like I said, it's practice. So I wanted to encourage you that there are some ways, some practical ways that you can practice this. And so one of the ways is by listening. Listening is a great agape skill. I love the fact that we care so deeply for each other, and we have so many experiences and so much advice to give. But agape, to grow in it, I think it really means listening to other people and taking some time and some energy and some care and some concern and putting that into action. And listening is a great skill. The other one is just generic helping. If you know someone needs help, if you have the ability to help them, maybe it's money, a resource, maybe you have a skill, someone who needs a car repair, a single mom, being able to help someone is agape love. And then the third thing is forgiving. We're called that since we've been forgiven of so much, how could we carry and be upset at a debt that someone else has, that we have towards someone else, just because maybe they angered us or they offended us or they owe us something. And so forgiving is a huge part of agape. When you get great at listening and you get great at helping, you're really good at forgiving, you're growing in a tremendous way. And I think you're growing essentially in being and becoming an adequate disciple. We have some questions as we stop the video that you're going to do on this session on living in community. How do I do discipleship? How do I live as a disciple? I think you're going to find them really riveting. I think the conversation should be great. I'm asking again that you take some of this home. So you've got some homework this week and practice. You'll also notice in your notes that if there are some ways that we've included, some resources that we've included on how to grow in agape. And so those are listed as well. And so take some time, answer these questions, ponder them, practice this week, of course, and then join us for our next session, the cost of discipleship. It's important that you know, Jesus said, if you're going to know what you're doing, you're going to need to know the cost. If you're going into battle, you got to know how many troops you have. If you're going to build a home, you're going to make blueprints, you better know how much it's going to cost you. And so we're going to talk about what is the cost of this life, of this faith, of discipleship, of multiplication. And so Cole's got a really special teaching plan for you. I know you're going to enjoy it. So we will see you then. Enjoy these questions, take some time, practice, and we will see you soon.